Right now, you're doing something. Maybe you're lying in bed, maybe you're on a couch, maybe you just picked up your phone because you had 30 seconds with nothing in them. And filling 30 seconds with nothing felt unbearable. You're scrolling, tapping, jumping from one thing to the next. Not quite sure what you were looking for, but unable to stop looking. And somewhere in the back of your mind, a voice tells you that you should stop, that this is a modern disease, that your great grandparents didn't do this and they were better off for it. Here's what that voice doesn't know. Your ancestors, the ones who lived 300,000 years ago, before cities, before writing, before agriculture, spent an average of 4 to 6 hours every single day doing the same thing you're doing right now. Same brain circuit, same chemical reward, same compulsive loop. The behavior isn't new, only the screen is. Imagine sitting at the edge of the savannah just before dawn. No walls, no ceiling, just open ground stretching in every direction. And somewhere out there in the dark, things that can kill you. Your job right now is not to hunt, it's to watch. To track every sound, every shift in the grass, every bird that flies in the wrong direction. Studies of modern foraging groups show that actual food gathering takes 3 to 6 hours. Not 8, not 10, 3 to 6. The rest of the time, your ancestors were doing something that doesn't have a clean name. They were monitoring, scanning the environment for anything that had changed, anything that could threaten them, feed them, or matter to the people around them. Not laziness, not rest, active, relentless attention. Researchers who spent years living with these groups describe the same thing across cultures separated by thousands of miles. People sitting in groups, eyes moving, heads turning. Conversations about who did what, where, and why, information flowing constantly. Think about what that actually felt like from the inside. You're not bored. Your body is calm, but your mind is moving. Every piece of information gets a quick verdict, relevant or irrelevant, safe or dangerous, thousands of micro decisions every hour. That feeling had a purpose. It kept your ancestors alive. For 6 hours a day, the human brain ran this program on full power. The default state of your nervous system was not rest. It was surveillance. In 1954, 2 neuroscientists at McGill University accidentally found the switch that runs all of this. They were testing electrodes in rat brains when they hit a region they didn't expect to matter. When activated, the rat stopped everything, stopped eating, stopped sleeping, and pressed a lever to trigger it again. Up to 7,000 times per hour, the rat chose the stimulation over food, over water, over survival. What they found wasn't the pleasure center. That's the part of the story most people get wrong. Dopamine doesn't make you feel good. It makes you want. It fires not when you find the reward, but in the moment before. The anticipation, the reach, the possibility that what comes next might matter. Your brain is not searching for satisfaction. It is searching for the chance of satisfaction. And there is one thing above all others that keeps this system running at maximum: unpredictable reward. This is why you check your phone even when you're not expecting anything. This is why you scroll past things you don't care about. The brain isn't looking for a specific thing. It's running the loop. The same loop your ancestors ran at the edge of the savannah every morning. Scan, signal, scan again. Then, roughly 10,000 years ago, that loop lost its environment. Agriculture changed everything. Not just what humans ate, but what the brain had to do all day. When your food is in a field you planted, you don't need to scan the horizon. The unknown shrank. The loop kept running, but the world stopped giving it enough to work on. For thousands of years, the seeking system had less and less to do. It didn't disappear. Nothing built that deep into the brain just disappears. It went quiet. It waited. Then in 2007, the iPhone shipped, and within a decade, 3 billion people were carrying a device that does one thing with extraordinary precision. Then in 2007, the iPhone shipped, and within a decade, 3 billion people were carrying a device that does one thing with extraordinary precision. Every scroll is a scan of the environment. Every notification is movement in the grass. Every new post is the brain asking the same question it has asked since before language existed. Does this matter? Is this a threat? Is this a reward? The technology didn't create the behavior. It found it. A 6-hour-a-day compulsion that had been sitting in the human brain with nowhere to go, and handed it a new savannah. Here is where every conversation about phone addiction gets it wrong. They tell you the dopamine story, they show you the rat pressing the lever, and then they tell you to put your phone down and go outside. As if the problem is that you're weak. As if your great-grandparents were stronger because they didn't have a screen. They weren't stronger. They had the same brain. They just had a different environment. And here's what that environment actually looked like at the end of the day. When the fire came on and the hunting was over, the conversations didn't stop. They changed. During the day, talk was practical. But at night, around the fire, 80% of conversation became something else entirely. Stories about other people, who was connected to whom, what someone did in a camp 3 days away, how a conflict got resolved. The loop that spent the day scanning for physical threats spent the evening scanning the social world, building a map of who could be trusted. This is what gossip is, this is what news is, this is what your feed is. Your brain isn't broken when it does this. It is running the exact program it was written to run. The problem isn't the seeking, it's that the information on the other side of the scroll is not real in the way the information around the fire was real. Those were people you would see tomorrow. That conflict would affect you directly. That story would change how you behaved next week. What you scroll through tonight will not. The information arrives, gets processed, triggers the loop, and then vanishes. The loop runs, nothing changes, the loop runs again. So the next time you pick up your phone without knowing why, don't reach for an explanation. You are not weak. You are not addicted in any simple sense of the word. You are carrying the most powerful motivational system ever built into a mammal, in a world that was designed to keep it running without ever letting it land. The ancient brain needed the loop to end. It needed to find the thing, the water source, the safe path, the person who could be trusted, and then stop. Rest? No. There was a moment at the end of a day on the savannah when the scan was complete, when enough information had come in that the brain could let go. That moment still exists somewhere in your biology. You can feel it on a long walk or a real conversation, or any situation where the information you're taking in is actually connected to your actual life. The nervous system settles. The loop closes. The scroll was not built to give you that moment. Feel that pull, the one before the thought. That's not weakness. That's the oldest part of you, still doing its job.